So we know by now that the Fed, Mr. Jerome Powell, all of his little Fed buddies, and all those 400 economists that he has behind him that look at data, read data, and do all this amazing stuff, we know they're always late to the party to raise rates, late to the party to cut rates, which they literally just admitted a few weeks ago that they were late to cut the end of last year. And right now they are admitting that, hey, we're okay if we're late, we'd rather be early. And what is the most frustrating part about all of this is that it doesn't just affect real estate. It's affecting real estate, yes, residential, commercial, affordability, home prices, right? People can't refi, they're stuck in their houses. Also, this affects small businesses. The small businesses of America cannot go get that amazing debt that these big companies. And what you might not understand that you're watching this video is those big companies you see, they don't get the same debt as a small business. Their rates that they get are way lower, way more attractive, way better terms. So the small business person is getting crushed. This hurts on student loans, credit cards, you name it. You need to finance furniture, you need to buy a car, whatever it is, you are feeling the punch. Is inflation coming down? Absolutely. Are the Feds looking in the rearview mirror with inflation? 100%. If you've been watching me, I've been telling you this for many months, if not a year now. They are late. The data they have is completely wrong. And what are we seeing out there with all this stuff going on? I'm gonna break it down in this video today of why I think the Feds are late. What are the things we're gonna watch for that should unravel over the next 90, 120 days? And basically at the end of the day, how interest rates should be lower, how the Fed should be cutting. And I'm not saying cutting aggressive, they should just start the party now, and why they ultimately will be late and probably have to make up in the latter part of this year to cut rates. But how we're gonna get down rates into the fives, maybe the sixes, and what is Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, talking about where he sees the 10-year Treasury, where he sees rates, and where he sees he can see improvement in the market once this big, beautiful bill passes that's going to deregulate a lot of stuff in our business. But before we jump into all that, folks, if you've never met me, welcome and thanks for watching. My name is Kenny Simpson. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. That means I help people buy and refinance 1 to 4 unit properties. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you're a real estate investor, whether you're self-employed, right? And you need help, I'm your guy. I can help you out. I've been doing this about 20 years, helped over 5,000 clients, funded $1 billion of loans. So that means I've done this a lot of times, had tons and tons of conversations, help people every day, every week. And if I can help you, please reach out. So again, thanks for watching. And yes, I do create content. So if you see me, you're finding me now, you'll notice I'm all over the place. You should definitely be following me on my Instagram right here at Kenny B. Simpson. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. Also, if you're getting this, maybe you're not on my email list, you should definitely sign up for my email list. And all this stuff, simply you can find at the bottom of this video in the captions, you'd be able to find where to sign up for my email address. But if not, always go on my Instagram and reach out to me and DM me about getting my email address. But without further ado, if you want to contact me, the best way is email, text me, call me, or DM me on my Instagram. I love to talk, love to help you out with any of your problems. And that's what we do these days in this real estate market. We are solving a lot of problems. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Let's get back to why you're here, because I know you and I want to know the same thing. When are these damn interest rates going to come down? And when can we start planning on making things more affordable? Maybe you need to buy an investment property. Maybe you need to refinance an investment property. And maybe you're also excited about what's going to happen in this big, beautiful bill that looks like it's going to pass, and how that bonus depreciation is going to come back too, which I'm going to talk about in another video. But I'm really excited about the future here with the deregulation and getting back to some of this solid stuff in real estate that can really help us drive growth, get these interest rates down, and help a lot of people out there that need to refinance, buy. And look, that's why we need inventory. We need people to build, we need people to buy, we need people to burr, right? That means buy stuff, fix it up, make it new, and make it nice for new tenants. And also, we need people out there that are renting that want to go buy a primary residence and make it more affordable. We need to get these damn interest rates down. Whoever you talk to talks about getting the interest rates down. The only person that doesn't really care, and I hate to say this, about the housing market is Mr. Jerome Powell. He doesn't care that you pay 7%, folks. He does not. He doesn't care you're a small business and you're getting choked out. He does not care. That is not his job. That's not his role. And that's why Trump and him are just fighting, because Trump is like, hey, buddy, can't you give us a little bit of love? And even people that were in the camp of him not cutting are now saying it's time. You're late to the party. You need to cut. We need to move this show down the road. We need to get going. And this is taking way too long. So I want to dive into some data and talk about some stuff that you might not know about, that I'm just kind of getting you an oversight of kind of the stuff, the little bit of destruction that's starting to happen in the economy, and how, if you stay till the end, I'm going to tell you, because you go to Disneyland, you go out to eat, you go to the malls, and you're like, how are a lot of these people affording to live? We know they burned through their cash. We know they've tapped into their credit cards. We know a lot of people are like heavily financed or leveraged with their student loans. We know that 5 million people as of a month or weeks ago hadn't paid or were delinquent on their student loans. And that average payment is what, $500-600 that's gonna hit their balance sheet. That means it's gonna hurt them from buying stuff. We know this is out there. We know this is a reality, and this stuff is gonna come and hit. We also know that the small business is hurting. They really, really are, right? And there's just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of craziness, but at the end of the day, I'm here in California, I'm like, the gas is still a ripoff, right? We go to the store, it's still expensive to buy stuff, right? And so there's the tariffs, things still seem expensive. It's harder for people to get jobs right now. You kind of feel like things are tougher right now than they ever have been before. We also know the consumer's slowing. They're not spending like they were prior. We're not dummies, right? I do loans for a living. I look at people's financials. People that are in many different businesses, whether it's online business, a restaurant, service business, whatever, they are not doing the numbers they were like in 21, 22, 23. It is dramatically slowed down. It just has. Listen to the airlines, listen to the credit card companies, listen to the travel. People are definitely slowing down. They're just not spending. We know that on the retail level. We're not dumb folks. We're not blind. You and I we know it, we feel it. We are not spending money like we used to. It's not. You bought in a new car, you bought in the new furniture, maybe you fixed up your house, whatever it may be. You're kind of like, you're not gonna buy a new car every year. Maybe you bought the new phone, maybe you bought your new clothes, whatever it is. Maybe you bought a piece of jewelry. I don't care what it is. You're just not spending at the level you were, and that eventually is gonna hurt. The other thing we know is the government, the waste, the fraud, the abuse, and all that crap that was going on, and people were just making ridiculous amounts of money off the government. That is true. That game is over. And what a lot of people don't realize is that all these small businesses, they could have just been a mom and pop shop. Do you know how much money they got out just with the PPP and the employee payment plan? Some of these businesses that the owner might have made $100,000, $200,000 a year got an injection of $500,000, $1 million. I'm not kidding you guys. That money went into their pocket. That might have bought a new car. That might have upgraded their business. That might have gone into buy a house. That might have gone into the savings. That might have gone into buying stocks, Bitcoin, real estate, whatever it is. That money is not coming back around, meaning we're not gonna see money like that hit our pocketbooks, right? And so there's so many things that are going on out there that have been stimulating this economy that is starting to burn off all this money. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about is there's a lot of people that own real estate that is locked in on low rates, and a lot of it's not fixed debt. It could be the commercial work, where people are locked in on 3 or 4% rates. And guess what, folks? Those rates are gonna come due. They're set for 5 years or 7 years. That is gonna have to start being refinanced in the next 2-3 years. So the money that maybe a real estate investor, let's say they're making $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month, their income could go down by 30 to 50% because they have to refinance. So a lot of people that are feeling rich, that are feeling wealthy, that are feeling the cash flow, that are kind of like, this is great. If things don't get better, eventually they're gonna see a slowdown. They're gonna see their cash flow come down, right? And so people that are living a lifestyle might be burning through their money. And there's one thing I haven't mentioned that, yes, I'm gonna give you the stats and data at the end of this video and tell you what else, how people are really surviving, not credit cards, not cash, not things like that. And they're surviving a couple things they're doing to get by. But let's dive into the data now. Let's see what's really going on and how we think the Fed is missing in today, and how we think they're just out to lunch. They're all in. And remember, the 400 people that work at the Fed, they're those people that are the really smart kids that went to school, got the master's, got the Ivy education. They've never ran a business. They've never had payroll. They've only known as here's a check, here's a food in your mouth, here's a silver spoon, here's a food in chocolate. I'm not saying they're all like that, but these people have never run a business. They don't understand pain is. They just know to go to school, school, get an education, and go out and get a nice paying job, and they just look at data and they think that's just what it's all about, right? But they look at it in a certain way, a certain algorithm, which is late. So they are late to the party always because they're looking in the rearview mirror. So inflation, the Fed target is, they focus on the PC, right? That is their inflation target. There is the CPI and the PPI. So PC is going to be coming out again. So with that being said, their target is 2%. That number right now, whatever, people have different numbers. Let's just call it that it's 2.4, 2.5, 2.6. Who cares? The reason why that number matters is because if that number was 2%, if it was below 2%, the Fed would be going, oh my gosh, the economy's slowing down too much. I'm choking the economy out. We need to stimulate it. It's actually going down too much, and we need to basically pump some stimulus into the economy. Well, there's a website called Truflation, Truflation. They take over 10 million data points. They look at this stuff daily, and they look at the real-time data of the numbers, of everything that goes on in there. And I'm not going to spend this video, but if you want to go check it out, you will see that Truflation is real numbers. It moves up and down, but today that number is in the 1.5, 1.6. So we already know that the real inflation number, especially if you just take rents in place, we already know that the Feds would be hitting their target. They know this too. They just ignore it because their model's late. So the information that's in their model is not current. So can you believe that we're in 2025 with all the data, with all the AI, all this technology, right? And basically they want to use old data and basically give you a number. So we know that they're wrong on that number. We also know, right, that GDP last quarter was not good. So like GDP that's been coming out has been lower than expected, and we're missing, right? We also know that consumers, that mortgage delinquencies are higher. We know that car delinquencies are higher. I told you that student loan delinquencies are higher. We know people that are burned through their savings. They've tapped out their credit card. We know small businesses are hurting. Like, we know all of this stuff, that people are leveraged up and they're trying to maintain the status quo. And the only thing a lot of these people have in their back pocket is if they own a property and they refinance at a 2-3% rate, they're feeling the pain less because they're locked in on that low rate. So we also know that the 10-year treasury is what we follow in our business to really identify if interest rates are going to come down. We know it's been stubbornly stuck between 4.25, 4.3, 4.5, 4.6, and it's because, oh, it's the tariffs, oh, it's Powell, oh, it's the employment, all it says, and a lot of people that I follow that really understand stuff, they say Powell's not going to break until employment breaks. That we're at 4.2. He wants to see unemployment at 4.5. He wants to see people lose jobs. So right now, think about it. Powell is choking out the economy. He wants it to slow. He wants pain. He wants people to lose jobs. He wants a little recession. He doesn't care that it's unaffordable if you're a small business. I told you that if you're in real estate, and he doesn't care. His job is not to care about real estate. So he is trying to choke this economy out, slow it down. Is he a guy that's not a fan of Trump? Sure. Is there some political stuff here? I don't know. But he is stubborn. Could we have a different Fed official that talks different, that's cutting sooner because he believes in, I don't want to be late, I want to get ahead of this? Absolutely. There could be another person that comes in office next May that's going to be announced the end of this year that's like, let's cut, let's be more aggressive, let's get some stimulus, let's help out this economy. But Powell, no love. So we think Powell is not understanding exactly what's going on in the economy. He does not see all the pain points that are showing, and he's ignoring it. We also know that he thinks inflation is higher than it is. We know that it's lower. He's ignoring that. We also know that he's okay, and he's admitted, and we've seen he was late to raise rates. He's late to cut rates, and he's admitted, I'm okay with being late. So he is okay with us suffering more and having more pain and being late to rates. He just doesn't care. So what could happen? What could break? And before I get into ending this video of what Scott Besson is talking about to get the rates lower, right, that could help, and where we see rates going this year, let me give you the nugget that I've been telling you about. So since over the last, let's call it a year and a half, 1.8 million people have taken out new HELOCs. There's almost $400 billion of HELOCs being drawn. Since 2022, $80 billion, let me repeat, $80 billion have been pulled out from home equity lines of credit. That does not conclude cash out refinances on primary, cash out refinances on investment properties. That includes none of that. That includes no you racking up your credit card to pay for stuff, no unsecured loans from the bank. So $80 billion has been pulled out of people's pockets to go pay down credit cards, buy stuff, fix up your house, whatever whatever it is, that is a lot of money that is still being put into the economy. People have tremendous amount of equity, they have tremendous amount of upside, meaning they can go grab more money from the equity line. So there's so much cash sitting in those equity lines that can be pulled that could keep this party and train going on for a while. And that's the thing is, that is what people are, like a lot of people are living on right now. I'm just telling you, they've tapped, they've got a good first locked in, they went to the equity line because they blew through their savings, their credit cards, they don't want to max out, and now they're on to their home equity lines of credit. And that is what they're doing to survive in today's economy, because maybe their business is not making money, maybe they're just maintaining, maybe they're not getting the bonuses or raises they want. And if you're a small business, you might just be holding on. This is not the years where you're banking money, you're making money, you're just surviving, you're trying to keep your people on. And as we slowly hear, you hear people getting let go. We don't know if people are going to get rehired. We don't know if the government's going to keep hiring, how much money they're going to spend, because the government was propping up the economy with spending. They were propping up the economy with the hiring, and we know that's going to go away. So what does Scott Bessent say about all this? Well, let me wrap it up with this. Scott Bessent's target goal, because they need to refinance $9 trillion of treasuries, is he wants to see a 10-year treasury at 3.9. If we're at 4.5 today and we go to 3.9, just so you guys know, if you're getting quoted, I'm just going to pick a round number, 6.75 on an interest rate, that would almost bring your interest rate down to 6.75. They're also hoping with the deregulation of banks and things like that, and getting back to regulating stuff, that the spread between the 30-year fix and the 10-year treasury, I've been over this before, I'm going to go over quickly, is typically sits around 1.6 to 1.8, okay? Those between. That spread today is about 2.4. So if we could see a pickup in there, another quarter basis point, you could have rates in the high fives. And on top of that, there's also a deregulation coming where the banks that buy treasuries, I made videos like this before, the banks that buy treasuries, they actually are incentivized to buy treasuries, but then they're decentivized because they get penalized. Can you believe this? There's like a fee, let's just call it. So they're looking to get rid of this fee so banks would put more money in treasuries that would basically bring down the treasuries and the yields, and that would save you more money, and that could be a 30 to 70 basis point lower to the rate. So just these three things, when we kind of get past this and we get this deregulation, they call it the big beautiful bill passed, we could be looking at getting these interest rates down, some more stability. So we need to pass this bill, get rid of this tariff crap off the plate, and hopefully the second part of this year we can start seeing some of these things come to effect. So we could definitely see residential rates into the low sixes, high fives, commercial rates into the fives, into the fours, and that would really make things better. So I know I went over a lot of stuff in this video. To break it down, here's it in simple terms. Number one, Powell is late to the party. Number two, him and his colleagues, they don't run businesses. They're W-2 employees, they're super smart, but they really don't understand the plumbing and the financials of what is going on in the economy. So they look at certain metrics, certain data points that are old data, and they're not looking at new data. We're over here looking at a thing called Trueflation, where it goes over 10 plus million metrics daily. It's run by AI, and you can clearly see that inflation is much lower. We know that consumers are hurting. We know small businesses are hurting. We know they're leveraged, they have pain, they have credit card debt, they're using their HELOCs to survive, and people are getting raises, businesses are making money, so people are definitely struggling. We also know that unemployment is starting to have cracks and crumbles, and that people are holding on to these good employees as long as they can because they don't want to fire them and have to go rehire them. And at the end of the day, we know the Feds admit they're always late to the party, so they might have to cut to catch up. We're hoping that the Feds come to their senses, slowly start cutting. We see Scott Bessent come in and really start focusing on how to get these rates down, and we also see these big beautiful bill passing to deregulate things. So at the end of the day, we can get interest rates lower and get these damn numbers down so over 5 million people can refinance. People sitting in the sidelines that want to buy can now jump back in and make things affordable. Help the commercial market, help the small business person, help the person that wants to buy a home, buy furniture, buy things that have to finance and get those interest rates down. And we want to push people off of, not using HELOCs, not using, buy now, pay later type things, and really just get back to the basic fundamentals. But anyways, folks, I know that was a lot in the video. I wanted to break it down. Hopefully it makes sense. But hey, if I can help you with anything, reach out to me. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.